Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. If you've ever felt like you're doing absolutely everything right, you're working hard, getting those annual raises, trying to be super responsible, but somehow you're still completely financially stressed, well, you are definitely not alone. It's wild when we actually sit down and break the math apart together. Today, we're going to uncover some of the really toxic financial illusions that are keeping normal, hardworking people totally broke. But don't worry, we aren't just going to focus on the bad news. We're going to map out a mathematically proven roadmap to actually escape these traps and build real, lasting wealth. We've got a really packed agenda today. We'll start with the middle-class wealth traps, then move into the brutal math of borrowing, followed by the smart investment sequence. After that, we'll hit the $10,000 mental shift and wrap things up with the $20,000 superpower. All right, Section 1, the middle-class wealth traps, the normalization of financial disaster. Let's kick this off with a problem that is literally staring us right in the face every single time we drive down the highway or casually scroll through Zillow. You see this every single day, right? Normal folks with everyday jobs driving these massive, gleaming $70,000 trucks. And you kind of have to wonder, how on earth are they making the math work on a standard salary? Are they all secretly millionaires? Well, the answer is almost always no. There's an entire financial system out there designed to make impossible payments seem somehow totally normal. And it all starts with a pretty shocking number. Get this. The average new car payment in America has blasted past $700 a month. But actually, it gets worse. For those heavy-duty trucks and huge SUVs that have somehow become the default daily driver for so many of us, those payments routinely top $900 to $1,200 a month. People are basically paying mortgage-level bills just for their morning commute. It's crazy to think about how much of your monthly labor goes straight to the driveway. Let's actually walk through the timeline on this, because it is honestly staggering. How do people afford this? Well, they stretch their loan terms all the way out to 84 months. So you finance a $60,000 truck in year 1. By year 3, thanks to brutal depreciation, you owe way more than the vehicle is actually worth. You're trapped. By year 7, when you finally factor in those massive insurance premiums, inevitable maintenance, and filling up a gas tank getting maybe 15 miles a gallon, you'll have shelled out over $130,000. And the kicker, at year 8, that exact same truck is worth maybe 15 grand. It really just boils down to this concept. That's not transportation financing. That is wealth destruction with cup holders. People aren't just buying a way to get from point A to point B anymore. They're financing an identity, and doing that completely destroys their ability to build any kind of meaningful wealth for the future. Moving on to Section 2, the brutal math of borrowing and the $500,000 starter home fantasy. Let's apply this exact same brutal math to the housing market, because the numbers here have just completely disconnected from reality. In dozens of markets right now, $500,000 is somehow the baseline for a standard no-frills starter home. But check out how wildly unbalanced this math is. The median U.S. household income is roughly $84,000. Now, to safely afford a $500,000 house, following the golden rule of not spending more than 28% of your gross income on housing, you need to make roughly double the median. You need to pull in between $150,000 to $187,000 a year just to comfortably get your foot in the door.
So why do you need that much income? Well, a mortgage broker might excitedly quote you $2,800 a month for principal and interest. Sounds doable, right? But let's add in the real world. You've got $500 for property taxes, over $400 for maintenance, because let's face it, things break, $300 for homeowners insurance, and another $300 for private mortgage insurance if you couldn't drop a full 20% down. Suddenly, your real actual monthly housing cost completely balloons to over $4,300.
Let's look at what that actually does to a solidly upper middle class family making $160,000 a year. The Johnsons here take home about $9,500 a month. Instantly, 46% vanishes into that house. Add in standard car payments, gas, medical bills, student loans, and groceries, they're left with just over $1,500 a month for literally everything else. Clothing, kids' stuff, retirement, emergency savings. They make 6 figures, but they are quite literally one broken AC unit away from total financial disaster. Which brings us to Section 3, the smart investment sequence, plugging the holes in your financial bucket. Once you see these traps clearly, you desperately need an escape plan to actually grow your money. So here is a step-by-step sequence that is mathematically proven to save you tens of thousands of dollars. First, build a basic emergency fund, $1,000 up to 3 months of expenses. Second, ruthlessly kill any high-interest debt over 8%. You absolutely cannot build wealth while paying 22% to a credit card company. It's a total financial emergency. Third, get your employer match on your 401k, because that's literally free money. Then, maximize tax-advantaged accounts like your IRA and your HSA before going back to max out your 401k. You only mess with standard taxable accounts when all those other buckets are completely full.
I really have to pause and highlight step 4 for a second, specifically the Health Savings Account, or HSA. This is arguably the absolute most powerful wealth-building tool in America because it's triple tax-advantaged. You get a tax deduction when the money goes in, it grows completely tax-free, and you pay zero taxes when you pull it out for medical expenses. If you aggressively invest this over a couple decades, you can effectively make future medical costs completely disappear from your retirement budget. It's basically a legal cheat code.
All right, section 4, the $10,000 mental shift, the biology of having a financial safety net. So you're following the sequence, you're staying disciplined, and you hit your first major milestone. Let's talk about what happens to your brain when you save your first 10 grand. This isn't just a number sitting in a banking app, guys. Hitting $10,000 literally changes your biology. Neuroscientists have actually found that this level of tangible security drastically reduces your cortisol. That's your body's primary stress hormone. It eliminates huge amounts of daily decision fatigue because you're not agonizing over every little grocery purchase. An unexpected check engine light. It goes from a full-blown panic attack to just a mild, temporary annoyance. You sleep better, your relationships improve, and you unlock what experts call the emergency fund effect. But the crucial takeaway here is that having this money isn't actually about spending it. It's just knowing it's there. You transition from a consumer constantly playing financial defense to a strategist playing offense. Honestly, the hardest part isn't even saving the money. It's developing the identity of someone who saves money. You become a person who spots opportunities rather than just reacting to the next crisis. And that leads us perfectly into section 5, the $20,000 superpower, when gravity finally works in your favor. Once you secure that first 10 grand, you build this incredible momentum toward our final milestone. This is where the magic of compound interest gets really fun to look at. If you save $1,000 a month at a standard 8% market return, your first $20,000 takes 19 months of total grinding discipline. But check this out. To get your next $20,000, it only takes 17 months. You did the exact same amount of heavy lifting, but it took 2 full months less because your existing money is now working right alongside you, generating its own return. At this $20,000 mark, your brain completely exits survival mode and enters growth mode. This gives you absolute career leverage. It's what we call walking away money. You can fiercely negotiate your salary, push back on a toxic boss, or confidently walk away from bad deals because you just aren't desperate for that next paycheck anymore. And the beautiful irony? Projecting that kind of confidence usually leads to better offers and even higher income. It's an incredible positive feedback loop. As we wrap up this explainer today, you really have to ask yourself a hard question. Are you going to keep playing a rig game, stretching for the massive truck and the huge house just to look wealthy while silently drowning in stress? Or are you ready to shift your identity, leverage the math, and build real, lasting freedom? The numbers absolutely do not lie. So what's your next move going to be?